decades of his life being worked by WWE, that there was still a nagging little bit of doubt that, like, what if? Thankfully, the immediate response that educated everybody about how leukemia works and the modern scientific advances that they've made to treat it, everything was easily explainable, and it all seemed very, very genuine and realistic. So that quelled all doubt in me, and then just really got me behind this and really genuinely feel very happy for Roman.
It made me feel good for Roman. I knew this wasn't a work. I had this just feeling like, yeah, this would be too much. The only work thing about it is how they turned Dean afterwards.
But it's like you saw the reactions backstage after the announcement. I'm like, those were real. Those were legit. Nobody could fake that. And
they repeated it this time. Like, no one knew what he was going to say except for Vince, Triple H, and I believe Kevin Dunn.
I think Stephanie knew too.
Oh yeah, of course.
But it's. And you got Dean Ambrose was supposed to come out, but was so emotional in the back that he was like, "No, not doing it." And that's why it was only Seth Rollins that came out, and it actually works in the storyline too.
Yeah,
because that whole thing later on with the 4-man beatdown and the Shield coming out, and then the just leaving and the turn back, that would not have worked at all if Dean Ambrose had come out in the beginning. That would have been like, well, we just saw you hug earlier.
Well,
what sense does that make?
That Dean Ambrose bit was actually written during the show. That's been confirmed. That whole Dean Ambrose versus 4-on-1 beatdown with Roman and Seth Miggins save was all written maybe less than an hour beforehand.
And it's one of those like. It
and
works.
It actually fits the story perfectly, because you can't have whatever Dean's heel turn.
He's not a heel anymore. Let's face it.
I know he's not a heel now, but the whole heel turn when they started this, it was a failed experiment.
Should have never happened.
Even though you've been wanting it for so long.
It's one of those. They started out so good with it. And then the PC people
and then
on the internet went off on that one line that he said about Roman Reigns, and the WWE got cold feet, and then we got Bane. So
we got the germaphobe Dean.
Once he turned into Bane, it's like, okay,
it's like this is a failed heel turn, and yeah, it was just. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of prefer the Dean Ambrose that just doesn't give a shit. Because we know he's basically one step out, even though there are rumors going around that Roman's going to try and convince him to stay.
Oh, that's not even a rumor. He legit said to a fan who asked him, he's like, "Oh, we'll see about that." I'm like, if there is one person on that roster, I believe, who could actually get Dean Ambrose to stay, and it's that man. So we'll see about that. But I like the idea of the slow burn of Dean coming back into the fold. Then Dean comes out and hugs Roman and destroys any sense.
Granted, WWE is no stranger to doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that Dean.
So I'm glad
Dean was refusing to go out, which
I'm glad that Dean got over emotional. Because it'll actually work better in the long run, because I'm actually interested right now in how they can make this work.
Especially when you have 1 week, because the whole rumor is that it's going to be either starting off as a 5-on-2 handicap match, which will lead into a 6-man tag, or it's just automatically going to be a 6-man tag to begin with. I'm not going to lie.
They're not going to do that, but I think it'll start out as a handicap match. I don't even think it turns into a 6-man tag. I just think Dean Ambrose comes out and the pesky little gnat on the outside of the ring.
That's a possibility too.
Don't every time someone moves to do something handicap match like to Roman and Seth, Dean Ambrose is like, nope.
It's just once again, I said it last week and I'm saying it again. I don't like that it's basically Baron Corbin and his lackeys. The main the main heels are pretty much the underlings of Baron Corbin. Now you add Elias to that.
I liked kind of the fact that up until everybody came out, it was like they were doing separate stories. Okay, they had Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman.
Or
okay.
whatever, or what was supposed
whatever
to be
that
that,
was.
whatever the hell that was.
They had a continuation of the Dean Ambrose Drew McIntyre from last week. I'm like, I'm fine with a 4-on-4 or anything like that. Just don't have it be the team up right away. Have separate storylines going on that converge, and that's how it happens. And then they had the two come out, and I was like, oh, all right, we're back here now.
So it just made me realize, like, oh wow, Baron Corbin and his lackeys, League of Nations 2.0.
I wish that didn't feel like such an equivalency, but you're absolutely right.
That's all I got out of this.
It feel like
they're
such
just put
a
together.
Slipshod.
All these guys were just put together because they're the top heels, just to basically be fodder for the Shield.
And Dean Ambrose makes a Temple of the Dog reference. Win. That's it.
But on the bright side of life, Roman's return was not the only return this week, because on Ric Flair's birthday, who arrives to beat up Ric Flair but Batista?
I like what you did there because that's pretty much a lot of people.
Does Drax the Destroyer have your attention now?
Not even. We'll get to Batista in a second. I like that he referenced that everyone thought it was Becky Lynch, that she was going to break out of jail from being arrested earlier, which led to the Ronda Rousey Stephanie McMahon bit, which
Ronda Rousey still needs to learn how to talk, right?
What I like, granted, yes, she did flub a lot, but what I liked about it is that it definitely wasn't scripted. It felt real.
The emotion
about
it made it feel real about
That's why Ronda's style, even though it's not polished, that's why it still works for me. Because you can tell it's very, very passionate, and it's enough to really sell me on it and get me invested. Again, we're so used to polish that when it doesn't exist, it does stand out. But at the same time, what Ronda's bringing to the table, it's fresh and it still works.
It felt like them.
Exactly.
It didn't feel like a script. It felt like them.
Which is what we need.
And let's face it, okay? This storyline the last few weeks has been pretty weak.
Well, okay, they haven't done anything since
No, I mean, like, the whole Vince McMahon thing and everything surrounding Ronda Rousey, Ruby Riott, that whole thing all of it had something to do with the storyline, and it was all pretty weak. They needed something to get back on track, get people back locked in to this feud, and this is how you do it.
This was the whole thing with her and Ruby Riott, it was backwards storytelling. It was the big one-on-one match starting it off, because they had no build for Elimination Chamber, and then you had the rematch the next night, and then build a six tag team with the Riot Squad versus Ronda Rousey and Natalya. Originally, that segment was just supposed to be Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, that was actually last week. The Ruby Riott rematch was supposed to be Rousey versus Alexa Bliss, but in this particular one, it's just backwards storytelling. This didn't need to happen, other than just the fact that we needed Becky Lynch to show up. And
I suspect this is all going to come kicking in the high gear right after Fastlane concludes.
I agree.
I'm saying this right now. With what happened on Monday, it's already in gear for me. It's laid down the ultimatum. we're here now. That's it. So
Yes.
it's what should have been happening the entire time is finally happening, and I'm in. I'm back locked in.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there was absolutely a ton of things to love about Monday Night Raw.
So now let's go back to
Including
the
Batista.
Marvel crossing into WWE. Because we have Drax the Destroyer destroying Ric Flair's birthday.
Drax the Destroyer comes back to life just to
Came out of the
destroy
Soul
Ric Flair.
Stone.
Came to destroy Ric Flair, and to be fair, I would have just even beforehand when they were building up Ric Flair had Sting. Let's see who else was in their ring. Kurt Angle, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, all in celebration for Ric's birthday, and then they revealed the custom Ric Flair big gold belt, and I just looked at it and was like, "That's nice." And the side plates had all his title reigns listed. That is a nice belt.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're all waiting for him to come out. Wait, what's going on? You just see Batista in the distance dragging a cameraman into Ric Flair's locker room, beating the shit out of him. Do I have your attention, Hunter? But it was a great twist, and
Batista's
Triple
back,
H,
yay.
And Triple H decided to run backstage, look to check on Ric Flair, and where was Batista? Standing completely still so no one could see him.
Batista faded away again.
No.
Thanos
He was standing completely still. No one was able to see him. He was invisible.
He was standing there eating a Zarg nut.
The reference went over my head until you added onto it. I'm like, oh,
I see what you did there.
References.
I see what you. Same movie, different point in the movie.
Oh, brother!
I finally figured it out.
I will say, I was completely caught off guard with this. I agree. I was going to expect. Well, I was at first when they were building up this thing for Ric Flair's birthday, but Charlotte wasn't there, was she?
I honestly didn't even realize that at the time.
So once Charlotte wasn't there, I'm like, okay, so I guess this is just celebrating Ric Flair's birthday to close out Raw and leaving a good note. And then Batista shows up, and I was like, oh, Triple H is fine enough to have Batista versus Triple H at Mania? Which, going back to the SmackDown 1000 episode, that Batista is like, yeah, Triple H has done everything in this business except beat me.
Holy throwbacks, Batman.
And, of course, it's even better with Ric Flair breaking them up. Hey, come on, guys, we're having a good time. We're friends. We're celebrating. And of course, Batista comes back, breaks that barrier, and is like, okay, there's no Ric Flair to break us apart. Do I have your attention now, Hunter? I'm sorry, I love that.
Oh, brother!
And then he sees Triple H run, and he finally mastered it.
He mastered. Where is he?
Oh boy!
It was a good cliffhanger to Raw. They're probably gonna open Raw with this next week, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
And it's been a while since we've had anything to look forward to on Raw.
But I won't deny there was still a lot of shit on Raw.
There was, but then again, there's also 3 hours of Raw to fill. But what we did get, hey, there was certainly a lot to like.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, there was also quite a bit to like on SmackDown Live as well, considering that, currently Kofi Kingston is out and Kevin Owens is in the title picture. He's back, by the way. Surprise!
I love how pissed off everyone got on Twitter, not realizing what this means. Okay,
I said it right as it.
This means that the
Mania.
WWE has officially bought in to Kofi Mania. They knew they blew their load on this match too early, so they were like, okay.
There's the final proof.
And of course, okay, what better way to do it than to continue Vince McMahon doing his, I'm going to shit on everything fans want. I'm going to shit on everything you fans want. Here, have Charlotte Flair. Here, have Here, have Kevin Owens